do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean, and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short, so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? They wanna say my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah bitch I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on this shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seats as I spread with every word that I've said. How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel?
Hey guys, how you going? Alex, how you going? Out to lunch, how you going? Deb, how you going? Shannon, how you going? Who else have we got in here? Lucette, how you going? Robert, how you going? Okay, guys. Raven, how you going? Okay, guys, let's get into it. Raven, I don't know if you know who Grumpy Italian is, but I think I've been blocked from his channel, and I don't know why. I'm looking for someone who can tell Grumpy Italian to please unblock me. I didn't do anything wrong, I don't think. Okay, anyway, Dr. Lorna Finman said meet Ruki Sackman. Trump's pick for NASA. Friend of Elon Musk, pilot, billionaire, went to space, built his empire from nothing. This is a guy who's actually accomplished something in the real world. Exactly the kind of man we need. There you go. So this is Trump's nominee for NASA administrator, this man here. Okay. This is why America needs NASA, why the world needs NASA, because there is no more important investment than inspiring our children to build a better, more exciting future. And the best way NASA can do that is by delivering on our mission and ushering in a new golden age of science and discovery. And we will not fail, allegedly. Okay. By the way, everyone who mentioned here is innocent until proven guilty. Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah, everyone here is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Sorry, guys, this is the guy. New NASA, head of NASA. Okay, that's him. Sorry, guys, I'm not feeling well. I haven't been feeling well for about 3 days, and was why I had to decline poor Alex's invitation for a stream the other day, just a private one on StreamYard. I'm sorry about that. I just have not been well for the last 3 days myself. So, yeah, getting better, all good now, I hope. Ian Miles Chong said the CEO of Siemens Augustin Escobar, his wife and their 3 children died in a helicopter crash in the Hudson River, which I have footage of. Okay. Don't you worry about that. Said after they finish pissing up all our money, then they want to go after the family home, stand up for Australia and vote the Greens out of existence because they're going to do an inheritance tax. So there you go. Mario Norful said European markets dive as China slaps 125% tariff on US goods. Beijing's new tariff bombshell hits tomorrow and European investors are already sweating. The Hev123, normally what they call it, 100 is down 0.47%. CAC 40 down 0.92%. And Germany's DAX tanking at 1.53%. Wall Street's trade war is Europe's headache now. Tariffs up, demand down, prices up, classic lose-lose. Okay. Victor David Hansen, if tariffs are destructive, why are so many countries with them booming? Yeah, because they're all using the US. Hey, J1, how you going? Okay, Trumpet of Patriots here said Port of Darwin is not the only Chinese security concern. With help from the Labor Party, Chinese Communist government-owned companies built an air base in the Pilbara. Holy shit, I had no idea about that. I don't know if you guys did. Anyone who's in Australia, did you know this? The Chinese-owned companies, Chinese Communist government-owned companies, built an air base in the Pilbara. Great, that's all we need. Hey, Paranormal Oz. Hey, D-Lee. Okay, Craig Kelly, Libertarian for New South Wales Senate, said, look what they're doing to our snowy mountains that they don't want you to see. Oh, no. You can't, no. Labor, Liberal, Greens and Teals don't want Australia to see the desecration they're inflicting upon our snowy mountains in the name of taking action on climate change. Look what they're doing. They are destroying it. Looks like a war zone. It's been carpet bombed and all in the name of supposedly taking action on climate change. This 150 to 180 metre wide corridor has been hacked through national parks in the Snowy Mountains to construct giant 150 transmission towers to transport electricity to Snowy 2.0 to push water 27 kilometres uphill. Oh dear God, they're stupid. Snowy 2.0 doesn't create energy, it destroys it, because for every 1 unit of energy that it creates, it uses 50% more energy to pump the water up the hill. And after originally being budgeted $2.3 million, the latest cost estimate is $5.4 billion. Sorry, $2.3 billion, now it's $5.4 billion, which gets paid for by higher electricity bills in the years to come. It's complete insanity. Look what they've done. That's not taking action on climate change. That's destroying the environment. They're not environmentalists. They're actually killing everything. Wow. Dr. Russell McGregor said Anthony Albanese, Albo MP, had a go at the unvaccinated yesterday. Never forget he's always been a staunch supporter of the MMR. This will become very important soon. Okay, Lewis said the industry, I don't know, I might have to read that on Rumble. Bookmark to medical folder. But they're going to find out what's happening with autism, okay? Allegedly, that's what this is all about. Okay, the notice has said breaking Adelaide Council here in Australia, election declared void after a court found Chinese councillor was elected via illegal practices related to postal ballots involving foreign students. Is anyone surprised? I think that's how Labor won last time. Wow. Senator Babbitt said USS Liberty, Gulf of Tonkin, 9/11, Pearl Harbor, Operation Northwoods. What do they all have in common? Leave your answers in the comment. Well, I can tell you right now. False flags. That's what they have in common. Most of the wars that have been started have been done by false flag. If you don't know what that means, just look it up. Valerie Ann Smith said the sun that is giving life to us on Earth, it's not here to cause cancer. Oh, this is another one. It's what you're doing under it, not the sun. It's like saying estrogen causes... Oh, I might have to read that one on Rumble as well. Jeez. There's a lot I can't read here. It's ridiculous. Daisy May 4263 said nobody moves. Tara Bull said woman shoves man in Walmart. Oh, she actually hit him. And he retaliates. Was his response justified? Yes, I do believe it was. Oh. He said back up.
Oh, he is right there. Back up.
Okay, she's going to claim victimhood status now. Sorry, but that is justified. He said, move back, get away from me. And she hit him twice, once in the chest and once in the face. So he shoved her back. And now she's going to be the victim. Okay. Yeah, he barely touched her, Alex. Exactly. You don't have to, look, a man doesn't have to do anything with any real force with a woman and he can hurt her. So, wow. Miss Smudge said Jackie is a lie. Here she is again. Nobody in the army was her mate, dork. Retards Down Under found two of the biggest retards in Australia, and it's these two. Listen to this bullshit.
No idea, because you don't have a plan of attack. You're going to go in and cut Veterans Affairs again? Are you going to put that out to consultants? Because you took a lot of my mates out over that 9 years and you spent $20 billion of taxpayers' money to consultancy firms. Are you going to cut the guts out of DVA?
Jackie, I have absolutely no idea what it is you're talking about.
That out?
She knew very well what the hell I was talking about. I knew exactly what I was talking about. And not only that, it was very offensive to say, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Can you explain to our listeners exactly what she's talking about?
So when the Liberals were in last time, we had public service, they cut the guts out of it and they put in consultants. We like to call them their mates. You see who's getting the contracts. Jesus Christ, that's a mate of theirs. It's filthy shit in politics. Now they're saying they're going to cut 40,000 public service. I'm getting really upset because we now have this great thing called the NDIS and we have Veterans Affairs. And what we've been doing is putting public servants in there. These are complex medical issues, and to replace all them right now would...
That are run by bureaucrats. Why don't you say it like it is? She's projecting hard. Worried about those 40,000 people you've just employed?
Be a disaster. It'll hit our health system, public school system and all the rest because it's attached to federal. You leave those public servants alone and stop worrying about giving your mates jobs back on contracts that are a waste of money, because that's all they are, and they were a failure in the 9 years. And the other thing is, Abby, most of those public servants are not in Canberra. They're in the rural and regional areas. It'll be the robo-debt gone wrong. Do you know why they bring contractors in? Because when you go into estimates and asking questions, they go, it's got nothing to do with me. That's out on contract. That's theirs.
Nothing to do with us.
Nothing
Sorry.
to do with us. Yeah.
When they're questioned on the
Sorry, but this woman's a moron as well. I don't know who she is, but she's a moron.
efficiency or the...
Yep. There's nothing to do with that's contracted out.
Yeah, that's pure projection. It's what they all do, in fact. And they all
No
do.
idea, because
Hang on, sorry. I don't want to hear her screaming again. None of them should be in any position of power. Not the people who are running the Liberal Party at the moment, not the Labor Party, not Jackie Lambie, not the Greens, not the Teals. Anyone but them. Okay, Gunther Eagleman said, ghetto trash. Jasmine Crockett says, connect the dots. You cannot afford your home, groceries, thanks to Thanks to deportations. Apparently she thinks that's why you can't afford your home and groceries. Yes, she's that dumb. Oh, my God. Let's have a listen.
Realm. So I am telling you that this is a failed thing, but we've got to do better to connect the dots and let people know the reason you can't afford a home is because of these failed immigration policies. The reason you're not going to be able to afford your food is because of these failed immigration policies. And the same can go for the hospitality industries, where we have so many of those in the hospitality industry that are saying they do not have the workers that they need right now. Realm. So
Oh, my God. I think I lost some brain cells, man. Unless she's talking about the failed migration, like of people going in there, illegal immigrants, well, nothing she said there made any sense whatsoever. Benny Johnson said, reporter, China retaliated today by reducing the number of American films that can be shown there. What's your reaction? President Trump said, I think I've heard of worse things. He just doesn't miss. There you go. God love him. Yeah, I don't think they're missing much. You know, they think that's going to hit like Trump. Okay, reducing the number of American films that can be shown there. Yeah, I'm sure they wanted to do that for years. They probably already have. Liz Churchill said China and Bill Gates must be charged with biological war crimes. I admire the Chinese pandemic response, said Bill Gates. People are committing suicide from their balconies and their pets are being slaughtered. Shanghai, China. That's what was happening during the lockdown. And people were yelling from their apartments. Okay, do you want to see it actually?
这个是正常人的骄傲，好了，终于2万人，所有人都在叫，要命了。就刚刚。
Sorry, the volume's absolutely stuffed with that one. He's really loud, and I don't know if you could hear the screams and yells. But that's what happened in 2020 during COVID. Josh Hawley said Zuckerberg made censorship his whole business model. He even deployed censorship tools for the Chinese Communist Party. But Facebook and China don't want you to know that. Wow. Actually, I want to listen to Josh Hawley.
He, in fact, made censorship his business model. He, in fact, developed censorship tools for the Chinese Communist Party to use against its own people. He, in fact, made Americans' own user data available, was willing to make it available to Beijing. The truth is, Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg have lied to the American people repeatedly. And I think as we'll see today, they have lied to Congress as well. It's time for this to stop. That's why this committee has launched a full-scale investigation into the potential illegal behavior of Facebook. Today's hearing is one step in that investigation. Ms. Wynne Williams' testimony is absolutely essential to that investigation. That's why we invited her to be here today, and it is why she accepted. Facebook does not want you to hear what she has to say. I dare say China probably doesn't want you to hear what she has to say. But we are going to get the truth, and we're going to get the truth starting now.
Yep. So Zuckerberg facing Congress all those times and lying. Remember when he had that little booster seat because he was in a small chair? Yeah, well, he's been busted lying. Chicago One Ray said Natalie Winters brings the receipts and names all of the institutions that are bought and paid for by China. Isn't it interesting how many of the biggest critics of Trump's tariffs are on the CCP payroll? Some might surprise you. Let's have a listen to this.
But that's a full-blown traitor. That's David Firestein, who is the CEO of the Bush China Center. Now, what they don't tell you about the Bush China Center, and what I won't tell you about that interview, I guess they won't tell you, is that he was running to Chinese state-run television to dunk on President Trump's tariffs. I stand by my treasonous claim and traitor claim, but what's more interesting is what he doesn't disclose is that that group, the Bush China Center, is directly on the payroll of a Chinese Communist Party-run influence group known as the China-United States Exchange Foundation. They notoriously signed a 5-year, $1 million a year contract to basically parrot Chinese Communist Party talking points. That interview you see right there is what they call, I guess, an ROI. But more to that point, each year they were only bringing in about $1.2 million. So the buried lead there being that it was the China-United States Exchange Foundation that was constituting essentially the entirety of that group's budget. But this pattern is replicating itself over and over and over again. The other think tanks that are essentially bought.
Okay, she's going to list them now. The other think tanks that are paid for by the CCP. Okay.
And paid for by this very same, like I repeat, communist influence group, the Brookings Institution, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the Atlantic Council, the Center for American Progress, the East-West Institute, the Carter Center, and the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Of course, a bunch of America's top institutions are also on the take from the China-United States Exchange Foundation. And if Denver wants to toss up on screen the Center for American Progress, which has actually led delegations to China, paid for, subsidized by this communist influence group since 2009. This was a group that was founded by John Podesta, though I think that's maybe the lesser of the two controversies.
Oh, John Podesta, hey?
when it comes to this think tank, at least in the context of Chinese relations. But for decades, they've been collaborating with them, going on these high-level delegations, receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars to lobby for them. Why an American think tank would be lobbying for Chinese Communist Party interests, I can't quite tell you. The fact that it's comprised of overwhelmingly Obama administration alumni, maybe that squares that logic chain. But this is what you're hearing. It's full-blown propaganda from, guess what, people who hate the United States of America, don't think borders matter, and don't think sovereignty is important. So, of course, they're going to hate these tariffs.
There you go. Very, very interesting. Sassafras84 said, I flippin' called it, did I not? How very un-American of you to stand with China. Here come the red flags in the bio. Jason Hinkle said, we stand with China. Here we go. Now they're all going to put the red flags. It's going to go from the Ukraine flag to the red flag now. Okay, Amuse said China. Senator Moody is right, since the Chinese Communist Party has enacted a law requiring all Chinese students abroad to participate in intelligence gathering. Did you hear that? Chinese Communist Party has enacted a law requiring all Chinese students abroad to participate in intelligence gathering. The United States should immediately stop issuing student visas to Chinese nationals. So should Australia. Jesus. Oh, my goodness. We'll have a listen to her, actually.
I filed a bill yesterday to deny now student visas to Chinese students because China has just passed a law that now requires every national to gather intelligence, including Chinese students here studying, gather intelligence and report back. How do we not pass a law that prevents student visas in that respect? I mean, in the past few years, we've had an explosion of Chinese students that were caught gathering evidence or gathering information on military bases, on college campuses. How do we as lawmakers, policymakers, not do that? I filed a bill yesterday.
Think of that, right, you guys in the UK, in Australia, everywhere, Canada. Wow. Amazing. Viva Fry said, amazes me that so many Canadians are actually, oh, come on, they're not too stupid to realise that Liberals, not Trump, are responsible for the devastation in Canada over the last decade. I'm pretty sure they know. And that Mark Carney is not a new face to the Liberal Party, but has been an integral part of the destruction for the last 5 years. If after everything Canada's been through over the last decade, you still vote Liberal, you are truly as stupid as the Liberals think you are. Look, I think the machines have been in there. Same as Australia, I think the machines have something to do with it, okay? And not really. They have not really been voted in. Ryan Gerritsen said, because Carney is a liar, how many more lies do we need before Liberal Canadians wake up? Carney says he never heard of pro-Beijing group despite photos with its leaders. There you go, that China is in Canada, obviously. We've heard that over the last few days anyway. Okay, Megan Murphy said, I can't wait to find out how many Canadians vote for their tax dollars to pay for men's breast implants on April 28th. Wow. So have you guys got have you guys got an election on April the 28th? Ours is May the 2nd, I think. Hey, Timmy, how you doing? Okay, Jack said, who are these majority of Canadians that the polls keep talking about? The majority of Canadians say the CBC is their most trusted news source. Pierre Poilievre has promised to kill it within his first 100 days as PM. We can't let that happen. Well, they're probably doing the same polls that the US does, where they just, they pretty much poll the Liberals, okay? The lefties. Okay, Blonde Lady 2024 said this was Marine Le Pen winning her first round as France outright rejected WEF Ms. Macron. This is why they're banning her from elections and why she's been sent to prison. Look at that. That's huge. Yep. I think they're doing the diddly in a lot of countries, to be honest. Inevitable West said WF puppet Macron would never get this reception. The French genuinely love Marine Le Pen. In the end, she will win. And there you go. Okay, John Strand said, wow, shocking testimony by a Facebook executive turned whistleblower, who the lady was talking about up above, who was an eyewitness to secret illegal collusion with the CCP. This is nothing short of treason. When are we going to demand a stop to this outrageous corruption? Well, I know that some of these social media companies will sink under the weight of their own corruption. Okay, they've been undermining America's national security. They did these things in secret to win favour with Beijing and build an $18 billion business in China. We're engaged in a high-stakes AI arms race against China. And during my time at Meta, company executives lied about what they were doing with the Chinese Communist Party to employees, shareholders, Congress, and the American public. I sit before this committee today to set the record straight about these illegal and dangerous activities. Meta's dishonesty started with betrayal of core American values. Mark Zuckerberg pledged himself a free speech champion, yet I witnessed Meta work hand in glove with the Chinese Communist Party to construct and test custom-built censorship tools that silenced and censored their critics. There you go. Okay, Chicago One Ray said Florida AG said Biden admin was stonewalling the investigation into Ryan Routh for 200 days. People need to go to prison for it. This is treason. We need to know who in Biden's camp is responsible. Yep, we'd like to know. We'd love to know, actually. Cat Turd said treason. A man of memes said breaking evidence has emerged that confirms Biden's direct involvement in Jack Smith's investigation of the J6 probe against Trump. Wow, all this stuff's coming right, like it's right out there now. News Treason Channel 17 said they ought to find out who was using that auto pen. If he can't sign, then he can't be president. He keeps ceding it. At some point, Biden's term will be exposed and reversed. Yeah, who was signing it? Because that wasn't the president, so everything's going to have to be reversed. A lot of history's going to be rewritten, and a lot of people are going to be released from jail when people find out that they've been set up by three-letter agencies. Cat Turd said anyone caught and involved in this from the ground up should be charged with treason. Benny Johnson said Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard says they have evidence of voting machines being manipulated to steal elections. There you go. That's what I think happened in Canada. That's what I think happened in Australia. That's what I think happened in England. That's what I think happened all over the world. We have evidence of these electronic voting systems being vulnerable to hackers and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results. That's what I think's happened all over the world. And I think once it unravels in the US, the rest of the world will start to unravel as well. We're gonna all know that they were used and played with. MAGA Voice said breaking Josh Hawley exposed today the Chinese government was given access by Meta to store Americans' data. This is the most important 57-second clip you'll see today. This is a must-watch. This is treason. Okay, just let me get the volume down so that doesn't blow your ears off.
So I want to just be clear about this. Here in this document, Facebook is talking about making Chinese user data available to the Chinese government because they're going to store that data in China. Is that correct?
Correct.
But when you store that data in China, Americans who exchange messages or other information with Chinese Facebook users, that would mean the Chinese government could get access to the American data as well. Is that correct?
Through the POP servers, potentially, yes.
And Facebook was willing to take that risk?
Yes, there was a lot of discussion about this, and ultimately, yes.
I mean, this is extraordinary. This is exactly contrary to what Facebook has represented for years. Here, they're willing to build data centers, store data in China. They are willing explicitly to give the Chinese government access to it. And if that means that American user data is also compromised, they're willing to do that too. All for profits in China. There was virtually... So I want to just be clear about...
Whoa, okay. That started again very quickly. So there you go. There's the whistleblower. Meta's got deals with China to use your data. Paul Azipula said Joe Biden used our Social Security benefits to lure illegals to the US so the Democrats could buy every election moving forward. That is blatant treason and Joe Biden needs to be tried for it. Yeah, we're all waiting now to see who and when some people are going to be charged. They all need to be charged. C3 said, remember the anonymous leaker in the Trump White House? They wrote a book called Warning, full of lies and infos from the White House. His name was Miles Taylor. Trump just revoked his clearance, referred him to the DOJ and said he committed treason. Ooh, they're probably the first one then. Red Pill Bot said Hillary Clinton was to be indicted over the Whitewater scandal 4 days before documents related to the case were destroyed in the Oklahoma City bombing. Just keep bringing that up so people know. Okay, Walter Kurt said Crossfire Hurricane. Hillary Clinton was working directly with disgraced FBI agent Charles McGonigal in 2014. McGonigal was informing Clinton of damaging information so she could take the appropriate action. Is that when she bitted her hard drives and smashed the phones with hammers? McGonigal was the architect of Crossfire Hurricane, as he was the head of counterintelligence. This proves that Clinton was working with the FBI prior to even opening the investigation into Trump. There you go. Kendall and Turner were advised the FBI was providing them with briefing for awareness so Miss Clinton could take appropriate action to protect herself. They were also told the FBI was seeking their assistance to identify other appropriate recipients of the brief, if any. Wow. Elon Musk said the oldest living American is 114 years old, so it's safe to say that anyone 115 years or older is collecting unemployment due to being dead. There was no sanity check for impossibly young or impossibly old people for unemployment insurance. Elon Musk said your tax dollars were going to pay fraudulent unemployment claims for fake people born in the future. This is so crazy, I had to read it several times before it sank in. An initial survey of unemployed insurance claims since 2020 revealed the following. 24,500 people over 115 years old claimed $59 million in benefits. 28,000 people between 1 and 5 years old claimed $254 million in benefits. 9,700 people with birth dates over 15 years in the future claimed $69 million in benefits. In one case, someone with a birthday in 2154 claimed 41,000. Oh, dear God. Well, what a mess. Okay, I'm not going to read this right now because I need to get more information on it. But it was the guy who was stabbed the other day and the guy that stabbed him. Okay, but yeah, I don't remember having Elon Musk on the show, but there's a video, so it must have happened. Dylan Dane just said special guest Elon Musk joins Timcast AI to make a major announcement. This is not real, in case no one knows. Okay, it's not real. Have a listen though; it's quite funny.
Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we have a very special guest, Elon Musk. Who are you? What do you do?
Hi, I'm Elon Musk, and I'm an alien from Mars.
Well, right on. Thanks for hanging out. We got a lot to talk about.
No, Tim, seriously, I'm an alien. What happened was I accidentally teleported myself to Earth 30 years ago during an experiment that went wrong, and since then I've been trying to return to my home planet of Mars.
So what, did you have like a graviton flux capacitor that misaligned with the space-time curvature around Mars's lower albedo regions, causing a tachyon beam to refract off some rogue cosmic rays? No, that doesn't make sense. Oh, it was probably a Heisenberg compensator that failed to sync with the relativistic velocities, causing a cascading failure in the wormhole stabilization field.
Ian, what are you even talking about?
Actually, that's a great question. It was 2 Heisenberg compensators that failed under relativistic strain.
Oh, dear God, they're too good. Okay, these AI videos are getting a bit too good. But that's people talking and using the AI to change their voice to Elon Musk, Tim Pool, and Ian. And, yeah, the rest of it's bullshit. Oh, dear God. Okay, Tim Poole said, let's get it. Charlie Kirk said, breaking Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard announces a major incoming file dump on the assassinations of Senator Robert F. Kennedy and MLK Jr. Okay, they're coming. Tim Poole also said, whoa, the tail. I don't know why Tim Poole was trending, so I jumped over there and had a look and bookmarked some things while I was there. Whoa, the tail is missing. Breaking 911 said, breaking video. Moment of deadly helicopter crash in the Hudson River. 4 people reportedly on board. There it is there. Didn't look like it had a tail. Or have they made helicopters now with shorter tails? I don't know. Interesting. Okay. Darren Grimes said new. Labor quietly scrapped grooming gangs inquiries just before Easter. This is in UK. Now they're panicking over the backlash and considering a U-turn. They didn't listen when victims needed them. Now they're only listening because their own MPs are kicking off. Pathetic. Politics Live. Panic Labor considers U-turning again on grooming gang inquiries after furious backlash from their own MPs. Okay, I'm sure that's in the UK. Darren Grimes, I'm pretty sure. I think it is. Oh, no. Is it Australia? Because you don't call them Labor, do you? Hang on. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, you have different names for your parties. Like, you don't have Liberal and Labor, do you? It's Labor and who's the other ones? Someone can tell me. Alex can tell me. Okay, am I in my bookmarks? Yes. Tarquin Vaz de Ferns said I would apologise to him for everything white people have done to him and had his people for millennia. Then I'd hand him the keys to my house and car, along with all my possessions as reparations. Then I'd pay him my entire income every month and hope he forgives me. Drew Hernandez said, you see this at your window, what's your next move? Hopefully out comes the pew pew. Oh, he fell, look. He was trying to kick the window. Oh, now he's in. There you go. Well, hopefully the guy cut himself. Okay? Otherwise, hopefully, if it's in the US, hopefully he faces a firearm at the other end of that window. On the other side of that window, sorry. Mario Norfolk said US ghosts Europe on Iran talks. The US arranged talks with Iran and Oman without telling its European allies, and now the E3, Britain, France, Germany are furious and trust in Washington is evaporating. Bad news, only the E3 can trigger the renewal of sanctions against Iran at the UN. Worse news, they might have to do it by June, and Iran said that would mean a nuclear doctrine review. Trump's go-it-alone vibe is deja vu from 2018, but this time it could push Iran closer to weapons-grade uranium and military conflict. Israel's already on board with taking the lead if things blow up, literally. Secretary Rubio confirms US-Iran nuclear talks this weekend. US and Iranian officials will sit down face-to-face in Oman on Saturday to talk nukes. The goal, no nuclear weapons for Iran, period. Rubio, we've been very clear, Iran is never going to have a nuclear weapon. Trump is less subtle. He warned Iran would be in great danger if talks fail and hinted Israel would back any military move. Despite Iran initially calling for indirect talks, the US official says both sides will be in the same room. Well, hopefully they sort it out. You know, it's all theatre. Jeez. Kate M. said Australian Super Chief Paul Schroeder says that the losses from last week's industry-wide cyber breach have grown from $500,000 to $750,000 in an update to members this afternoon. Let's remind ourselves what the PM said about industry super fund hacking. We're considering what has occurred, but bear in mind the context here. There is an attack, a cyber attack in Australia about every 6 minutes. This is a regular issue, he said. Well, oh, yeah, that really eases my mind, Albo. Oh, hang on. Yeah, the PM said about the industry. Yeah, that really eases my mind, Albo, that we're having a cyber attack in Australia every 6 minutes and people are losing money in their super. Yeah, that really puts my mind at ease, you know. Okay, Rick said, what the actual fuck? These fuckwits are retarded as dog shit. They really do hate white Australians. The Albanese government has committed funding to help the construction of a statue honouring people who speak other languages. The Mother Language Monument will be built in the seat of Macarthur, where federal Labor MP Dr. Mike Freelander says more than 79 different languages are used. Oh, for fuck's sake. Send them all home. Dr. Freelander praised the partnership between the federal Labor government and Campbelltown Council, saying the delivery of the statue will recognise our diverse backgrounds as Australians. Send him home. Send them all home. I don't even know where they all come from, but Albanese government commits funding for Mother Language Monument. What a freaking waste of money. People are starving, homeless, and they're wasting money on this shit. Oh, my God. Kevin McKernan said there's an organised cancel culture that descends on scientists with uncomfortable findings. They are so intolerant they even take pride in retracting hypothesis papers. You shall not even wrong think about cheap generic Nobel Prize drugs that might end a pandemic. Who funds this childish behaviour? Science Guardian's saying breaking. Following our early post, Science Guardian's independent report on the retraction of Sabine Hazan MD's paper, microbiome-based hypothesis on ivermectin mechanism in COVID-19 feeds bifidobacteria to boost immunity. Am I on the wrong thing? I might have to read this on Rumble. Holy shit. Okay, we're going to have... I'm going to be, behind on Rumble because I won't have time to read everything today. But we'll get some done anyway. Sean Davis said, breaking FDR list has obtained the Russiagate binder, which consists of seven separate filings totaling hundreds of pages in the interest of full transparency and disclosure. We're making the documents available to everyone for review on our scribed page. Links to follow. There it is. Links all over the place. That's interesting. I'm going to repost that. Okay. For Dr. Suzanne Humphreys, I've got to do that on... Oh, no, I can do this here. Dr. Susan Humphreys said, for anyone living under a rock, this happened today. Liz Churchill said, winning HHS RFK Jr. announces that by September, the United States will uncover the cause of autism epidemic. Think of that. So it was 1 in 10,000 children that had autism, and now it's 1 in 31. Holy guacamole. Matt Couch said, what's the best advice you've ever received? The best advice I ever received was not to attend every argument you're invited to. I think that's one of the best pieces of advice that I ever received. There you go. Andrew A. Hennessy said, welcome to country. The notices said a female Danish tourist, 21, was knocked unconscious and stomped on just hours after arriving in Alice Springs. An Aboriginal man who was spared jail in December for assaulting police has been charged over the savage, unprovoked attack. Okay, Danish tourist attacked 2 hours after arriving in Alice Springs. Okay, that's their welcome to country, said Andrew A. Hennessy. Yeah, see, welcome to country. Holy shit. They want to turn the whole country into stuff like that, you know. Sorry, guys. Had to clear my throat then. The Road Knight said Britain had Rotherham and other places. Australia has Roeburn and other places. Both governments cover up child rape for fear of offending and because they're too scared of being called racists. And the children suffer. Don Key said the UK government betrays victims of Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs for political gain. Is anyone surprised? Okay, this one is just mind-bending. Mario Norfolk said, virtual YouTuber packs out concert. Welcome to the future. 4,000 fans show up in Los Angeles to wave glow sticks at a hologram named Maury Calliope, a pink-haired, Sith-wielding virtual YouTuber or VTuber who calls herself the Grim Reaper. She's not real, but she's famous with 2.5 million YouTube subs, a record deal, and a Tokyo agency aiming to turn anime streamers into Japan's next big export. With the Japan-born VTuber industry on track to hit 4 billion by 2030, Calliope might not just be the future of music, she might be your kid's next favourite pop star. Holy shit. This is insane. So a virtual YouTuber has 2.5 million subscribers. I can't even get to 500, right? I'm a real person. Oh my God, after having nearly 40,000 and then, yeah, it's quite humbling, I'll tell you that right now. Worse than humbling, actually. Kate M said, breaking news. Canberra Cafe forced to sack special needs employee. This one here, after he promised patrons $275 off their bill. No, really, this is a joke, okay? He's actually one of our politicians who promised $275 off our electricity bills. Okay? But someone's written Canberra Cafe forced to sack special needs employee after he kept promising patrons $275. Can you imagine anyone doing that? And then not delivering? Are you all right there out to lunch? I hope you're okay. You could use some help. Oz Integrity said, watch as Labor Energy Minister Chris Bowen is torn to shreds as he continues to try and reframe Labor's lie that our power bills would be $275 cheaper than the 2022 price by 2025. He then goes, try reframing it, that they'll be cheaper in 10 years. Flush the lying turds on May the 3rd. Flush the turd on May the 3rd. Okay, listen to this bullshit.
In there, but I'm going to give the next one to my patient colleague, Chris Uhlmann from Sky News.
Yeah, Chris Uhlmann, Sky News contributor, and I'll ask my questions in turn if I may there, Tom, and I'll start with the Minister, Chris Bowen. Chris Bowen, in December 2021, you commissioned modelling which showed, and you pledged, that you would drop power prices by $275 for residential homes. You committed to it again in April 2022 when you were told that modelling was flawed. You continued to commit to it in 2023 and 2024, even though electricity prices were rising. You continued to be committed to it when you started subsidising power bills. And now this year, as subsidies now have cracked through a new record and they're going through to the end of the year, you're spending billions of dollars on that. You are now claiming that electricity price falls due to subsidies are a fall in an electricity bill. Now, electricity prices are rising, aren't they, Minister? That's written into every electricity bill, isn't it, Minister? And if you can't admit that simple fact here today, why should anyone believe anything that you say?
Well, thanks very much for the question, Chris. I'm not exactly sure what your question is really in reality. You've got strong views about... Sorry, you asked... Are
electricity prices going up
Chris, you asked the question. I didn't interrupt you. Yeah, I didn't interrupt your question. Do I get to answer?
Excuse me, he just said he didn't know what the question was, so the guy was trying to repeat it.
Answer it? Do I get to answer it? Thank you. You've got strong views about these matters, which you express on Sky News in the evenings, and that's your right. I disagree with the way that you look at these matters. I disagree with the approach that you take, respectfully. I think that renewable energy is the cheapest form of energy. You disagree with me. You disagree with the CSIRO. You're perfectly entitled to that point of view. I have said at the outset, in my opening remarks, energy prices are higher than I'd like them to be. Of course they are. I think everyone would say that. I think normal Australians at home also look around the world and know that people around the world are dealing with similar issues. Countries with different policies in place are all dealing with high energy prices. With great respect, it's disingenuous and dishonest of you to blame all this on renewable energy as you do on Sky in the evenings. It's just not right, sir. It's just not fair. You're entitled to that view.
I'll ask a very, very simple question. Have electricity prices risen on your watch the exact opposite of what you pledged? Have they?
We have never denied that energy prices are higher than we would like. That's why we've delivered 3 rounds of energy bill relief.
In the Treasurer's speech you wrote, electricity prices have fallen. That's not true, is it?
Well, the fact of the matter is, if you look at the recent data, Australia's had the lowest energy inflation in the world.
Bullshit.
You might deny that, and I know you deny several things.
What's the reason for it? What is the reason for it?
Mr. Ewan, are you asking a question or are you debating?
No, it's just that you are completely avoiding it, as you always do. We get a
well, I know you're a man of strong views on these matters, and I said I've always had respect for you, but I have a fundamentally different view to the one that you have developed in recent years, which you express on Sky News.
And most of Australia has different views than you on our electricity, mate, but you don't care. Far out. See him try and dance around that? Hey, Stu. Hey, Paulie Donuts. Hey, Paulie Donuts. I don't know if you are subscribed to Grumpy Italian. Can someone let Grumpy Italian know that I've been blocked or something? I was trying to comment this morning and no one could see me. And I don't think I've done anything wrong. At least I hope I haven't. So, Paulie Donuts, can you let Grumpy Italian know that I've been blocked on his channel or something? Please, someone, anyone? Or if anyone watches this who knows who Grumpy Italian is, can you please let him know I've been blocked? Aussie Bot said we've taken your hard-earned money to buy votes. Any politician using the word free in this way is a treasonous. See you in the NT. Free equals taxpayer funded. Jacinta Allen said we made Rego free for apprentices, saving young workers hundreds of dollars. Yeah, they've just cost the taxpayer even more. That's all they've done. Madison King, WA Senate candidate, top 50 countries receiving Australian foreign aid, approximate estimates. Papua New Guinea, 637 million. Okay, just look at it, okay? Look at this, 637 million, 500 million to Indonesia, 171 million to Solomon Islands, 100 million, Vanuatu, Samoa, Tonga, Kiribati, Timor-Leste, Philippines, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Myanmar, Thailand, Malaysia, India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, South Sudan, Uganda, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, Tanzania, Rwanda, Zambia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Congo-Brazzaville, Mauritius, Seychelles, I have never heard of that, Comoros, I've never heard of that, Lesotho, Botswana, South Africa, Morocco, Tanzania, Egypt, Algeria, Chile, Peru, Argentina. Holy shit. Australia's still funding all them. Oh my God. And Maria said someone's going to get their driver's license early. Awesome video said, bro's living my childhood dream. Forget the childhood dream. He's living my dream now. Not just the childhood dream. He's living my dream, mate. The little kid. God love him. Okay, Mark PG said China's spending a fortune on the Australian election to get Labor re-elected. They want Albanese in government. They have plans for Australia along the same lines as Taiwan. Chief organiser is Andrews with his huge Chinese connection. This is why you're seeing such a change in polls. There you go. Dr. Simon Godek said absurd and depraved. A German gay lobby, Queer D, is promoting discount babies. 10% off human lives, plus a replacement guarantee in case of death? What? Children as commodities, parenthood by catalogue, and if the baby dies, no problem, a replacement child is included. Can the devaluation of human life get any more cynical? And before I forget, two fathers don't replace a mother, by the way. Oh my God. You've got to be kidding me. Guaranteed restart in case of baby's death. So they'll abuse it till it's dead and get another one. Is that what's going to happen? Unfortunately, all agencies assume that if a baby's born prematurely and dies after the 7th month, the program is considered fulfilled. Leaving you without a child and without your money. Guest Life is the only company in the world that protects you in this heartbreaking case and guarantees you a restart of the same program you signed up for, up to 2 years after the birth. If the baby dies for any reason or cause, including domestic or traffic accidents, at no additional cost to you, Jesus, we want you to be confident that no matter what happens, you'll receive the child you long for. So if they abuse the child, do they get another one? Holy guacamole. Hey, this woman's always touching her chin. Why? Does she think it makes her look smart? Look. And doing it again here. This is Claire. She's 45, never had a real job in her whole life, but somehow she's a federal housing minister. No wonder we have a housing crisis. She's never had a job and she's a housing minister. Holy shit. And this seems to be her pose. Wow. I really don't like these people, guys. I am really, really, really starting Do not like these people. Have I already put this in a folder? Okay, Oz Integrity said I'm lost for words, elbows out in full colours, dividing the community and chastising anyone who's not supporting Labor's mainstream candidates. This pathetic little person forgets he's in Queensland throwing insults at Queenslanders. Flush the turd on May the 3rd.
And his opponent, is a shocker. His opponent's someone who, at the campaign launch, was handing out MAGA-inspired material.
Who?
He's someone who has promoted anti-vax ideas during COVID.
Well, at least let us know who it is so we can vote for them.
He's someone who's called for the complete defunding of the ABC, which is so vital in a community like this. When there are floods and natural disasters, the ABC plays a particular role in regional communities. He has said in an area that is dependent upon tourism, he has said that China is, to quote him, a grub of a country. Now, calling an entire country a grub of a country, direct quote, is just extraordinary. The difference is that I'm sure Matt, like myself for a long period of time, we want to see more tourists come from China as well as from Japan and from the region, from the United States, from the UK, from Europe, coming here from India with direct flights here and in and out of Cairns Airport. This bloke, it's hard to see how he'll attract economic activity for what is one of Australia's target markets. I mean, there's a bit of talk today about gas from Peter Dutton. Well, he doesn't need gas for his cookers. If he wants to find cookers, he can just look at his party room because it's full of it. He got rid of the Whitlam candidate. Now he's got another one who's got problems. This guy here is a shocker, and people shouldn't vote for him. We need mainstream candidates. This bloke here will be a mainstream candidate for the Labor Party, and people of this electorate should vote for Matt Smith.
Why do I think he's talking about Ralph Babbitt?
And his opponent, is...
Who is he talking about? Sounds awesome, whoever. Yeah, it's Jeremy Neal, is it? Candidate for Leichhardt? No. The opponent in Cairns. Who is it? Sounds like Babbitt. The Liberal candidate up there. Hang on. Trying to find out who they're talking about. Cooker. They call conspiracy theorists cookers here in Australia. So that's why he said what he said. Insider trader Albo and yep. Okay, I don't know, but whoever he's talking about up in Queensland there, vote for that person. Oh dear. Okay, footage of former Prime Minister David Cameron talking about the plan for the UK. We need many more Muslim men and women at the top of British business, many more Muslim soldiers in the highest level of command. And of course, I'll let him tell you. I'm going to let him tell you.
As I've said many times, for a party like the Conservatives just to open the door and say, come on in, if all you see is a sea of white Christian faces, you need to see people from your own communities getting to the top of the army, getting to the top of the legal profession, getting to the top of the business, and yes, getting to the top of the Conservative Party and politics too. So the truth is, if we're going to build that strong, vibrant and inclusive society, we need more role models like this. Many more Muslim men and women at the top of British businesses, many more Muslim soldiers in the highest level of command, and of course more Muslims in our parliament. So there's not just one Muslim in the cabinet and one in the shadow cabinet, but British Muslims all across government in positions of leadership and authority. In positions of leadership and authority.
There you go. Tried to get that in bits so it didn't blow. Sorry for blowing your ears off, guys. Yeah, J1, Babbitt was on Topher Field recently. The E-Karen has censored Australian senators. John Ruddock, MLC, said New South Wales Senate ballot paper's just been drawn. Craig Kelly and the Libertarian Heart and People First Coalition is slam bang in the middle. Right there. Okay, you've got Is this one of the ballot things? Put everyone first, little parties, and the larger parties like the Liberals, Nationals, Labor, and the Greens and Teals at the very end. Ben Fordham Live said Australia's Race Discrimination Commissioner has been trash-talking Australia Day. Gurdharan Sivaraman says it's not a day to be celebrated. We'll send him home. Premier Chris Minns says his comments are bonkers. This is the guy who runs Australia's Race Discrimination Commissioner. That's who it is. Send him home, mate. See you later. Wall Street Ape said Tucker Carlson tells Alex Jones they have to end free speech in America. They'll not stop till X is banned. Tucker says they'll eventually orchestrate a violent event that will be used as a pretext to shut down free speech. They need to end speech in the United States. They need to shut down X. They have to. I wonder if that'll be the 10 days of darkness. Miss Smudge said, man pretending to be a woman in the UK who has no medical qualifications and has a financial interest in transgender-related business has an article proclaiming the safety of puberty blockers published by the Australian taxpayer, funded by the ABC, who's in the UK. For fuck's sake, to fund the ABC now. Bernard Lane said this ABC article prescribing puberty blockers to trans teenagers is not as morally or medically contentious as it seems. Oh, for God's sake. Yep, DOQ said the history books will be rewritten. I think a lot of things are going to be rewritten in medical books too. Jay Anderson said, we have weaponry. Nobody has any idea what it is. What weapons do you think Trump's referring to? Well, if anyone was watching Q movement earlier in the thing, we got to see some of those weapons. They have unbelievable weapons that we do not know about. Okay. Mitch and Kim's page said exactly. Concerned citizens said not a coincidence that BlackRock and Vanguard own major shareholdings in all the multinational corporations pushing the exact same agenda, which is an unhealthy one. Okay, what they're saying is, I'll let them speak.
This is a Calvin Klein ad from 1992. And this is also a Calvin Klein ad, but just more recent. We see these trends being glamorized in pop culture and in all the major fashion publications. And people are still buying their but all you're doing is giving them more power to confuse, weaken, and enslave the next generation. If we want our men to be men and our women to be feminine, we need to start putting our money in companies that are aligned with our values and stop feeding this monster.
I agree. Okay, Senator Babette said true. Yuck Fu said not even people born in Australia have any loyalty to Australia. Well, some people do. So, and I was not born here, but I am a permanent resident of Australia, and I have loyalty to Australia. There you go. Stephen said, this is Durban, South Africa. This is what removing white toxicity looks like, a glimpse into the future of Australia if nothing changes. So this is what happens when they remove the white people from Africa, South Africa. Yeah, it looks great. Fantastic. Was that a person laying in the street? I don't know. Could have been a mannequin. I don't know. Wow. Yeah, anyway. Michael O'Keefe said in Ireland, the government is recruiting Muslim migrants to police the natives. When opposition politicians question how foreign men can be sufficiently vetted to join the Gardia, is that how it's pronounced? The Taoish Seach, I don't know, replies, what does vetting actually mean? What the fuck? Do you not know what vetting means, you idiot? Even I know what vetting means. You check them out, mate. Make sure they're not freaking terrorists. Make sure they are who they say they are and investigate. Okay, Ian Miles Chong said Give, Send, Go has finally banned the Carmelo Anthony crowd fund, which received well over $200,000 for the guy who stabbed Austin Metcalf in the heart for looking at him the wrong way when confronted for being in a place he wasn't supposed to be. Tim Pool and many others called it exercising his right to self-defense. Well, that depends on whether the other guy manhandled him or not, I believe. I don't know. I need to look more into it because there's something going on with this that's not just as it seems on the surface, okay? I don't know. We'll have to wait. Okay, Wide Awake Media said we had a growing number of certain medical procedured patients, and what I was clearly seeing was those kids don't get sick. Dr. Paul Thomas said we looked at every single patient born into my practice. We stratified them according to the number of procedures they had, and the more procedures they had, the worse you were. Infections, ADHD, ADD as well, neurodevelopment issues, eczema, allergies skyrocket in the procedural compared to the unprocedured. This data is so powerful that within 5 days of it being available online, they yanked my license. I was supposedly a public threat. Wow. Congressman Brad Knott said someone's been arrested in your town who's here illegally and you want them to be released rather than to work with federal law enforcement, and it's your testimony that makes your community safer? We work according to the law. Do you think that being here illegally is consistent with the law? The guy has no idea. Who is the guy, by the way? Mayor Franklin. Upside down, by the way. Okay. What's this shiz? Why did 21.7% of Australians become disabled? I don't know, but my food, maybe. I don't know. Something happened. What this shiz is short answer, Labor government and NDIS. Here is one example. Oh, you're kidding. Pedos are now considered a disability in Australia. Labor has allowed them to receive NDIS housing and funding as well as disability payments in state-owned housing. I cannot get half of this, and I am disabled. I cannot get the NDIS. I cannot get housing. Okay? I can only get the payment, the disability payment. These pedos are getting NDIS housing as well as payments and God knows what else. Currently, pedos have more housing and food security than private renters and mortgage holders. Please, everyone, vote Labor, Greens and Teals last. Info and articles on the highlights of my profile. Certainly, there's no universally agreed definition of pedo. Pedo, however, is considered a psychiatric diagnosis that indicates a persistent sexual interest in prepubescent children as reflected by sexual fantasies, urges, thoughts, arousal patterns, or behavior. It makes me sick just reading this. Individuals may or may not act on this attraction. But they're allowed to get disability allowance for that? Holy shit, we're more broken than I thought. Oh. Alexandra Marshall said fewer than a third of the audience in the Sky News debate raised their hand when they were asked if they were doing it tough. And we're supposed to believe this is a genuine audience that represents Australia? What are they? Media hacks, university shut-ins and mates of the government? Probably, that's what they always do. And that was Sky News, okay? Senator Babette said, should I do it? Faze Mosley says, Senator Babette for Prime Minister. I reckon he should. I'd vote for him if he did. Okay, and yep, that's it for today here. I've got quite a bit to read on Rumble, but we're only going to go through some of it because both Timmy and I have things to do today that we probably need to jump off early from. So we'll just go through a few of the comments. There you go. It's jumped on me. There you go. We'll go back as far as we can. Dennis Beers said that's why they wanted the Brumbies, cows and drovers out. They knew exactly what they're doing. Out to lunch, said Flags, that is. Dennis Beers, how you going? Alex said he barely touched a lol. Shannon said false flag and media hypes and propaganda mockingbird media is the enemy of the people. Alex said some women don't realise how strong men actually are. Yet they think they're just as strong as men these days, mate. If you could hit the like button, I'd really appreciate that too, guys. Out to lunch said he could have not hit her, but it's easier said than done. Shannon said it's okay. He temporarily identified as a woman. Alex is laughing at Shannon. Dennis Best said, I know where that's going, the Cossack incident. I don't know. J1 said, Shannon, yep. Out to lunch said, soldiers fired for not taking a certain procedure, getting back pay. Yep, so they should. Shannon said he did have man boobs, moobs. Lucette said she thought she had some sort of privilege being female, which gave her a license to punch a man and he would have no right to fight back. I've got no sympathy for her. Exactly, Lucette. Exactly. And, like, did you see all the other people in the shop just stood there? They didn't do anything. They didn't go to see if she was all right because everyone saw exactly what happened. Out to lunch said that's winning. J1 said equal rights, equal lefts. Dennis Biz said Pauline's daughter in Tasmania is going up against Lambie. That'll be interesting. I hope Pauline's daughter wins. Out to lunch said J1 100%. Shannon said just following orders. Yeah, Alex agrees, Lucette. Yep. Alex said that Aussie MP gives off Bogan vibes. Oh, she does, doesn't she? Well, I hope Pauline Hanson's daughter kicks her out in the election. J1 said Trump plan under 150K, no income tax. Paranormal Eyes said, ha, Alex, full Bogan, hey? Alex said Billy Goat Gates should have been locked up years ago. If he wasn't a billionaire, he would have been. J1 said Gates is another vril. Deb said, hello, Raven Lilith Moon. Yeah, if anyone who knows Grumpy Italian can please ask him why I'm blocked. I have no idea. No one could see my comments this morning. If the rest of you are wondering who the hell Grumpy Italian is, it's okay. It's just someone from the MRE area, you know. They talk about, what do you call them? Fake mobsters and things like that, you know. Alex said, I remember that Chinese were being concreted in their flats. Paranormal Oz said, do you reckon he's had the thing in his eye, J1? Alex said, yeah, Paranormal Oz. Dennis Biz said, China has free driverless taxis. Oh, wow. J1 said, most definitely. Paranormal Oz, him and Zuckerberg. J1 said, mimic. Alex said, sounds like she had crocodile tears too. Yeah, she did. And Raven said, Deb, hope you're well. Paranormal Oz said, at Donald Marshall. J1 said, hi, Raven. Shannon said, scoffing down seaweed crackers and butter with John West tuna with lemon crack pepper. Yum. I love seaweed, eh? Paranormal Oz, yum, Shannon. Have you tried Serena tuna? Oh, Serena's nice. Alex said, a lot of them need locking up. Actually, Serena used to be Italian, and I don't know if it is anymore. Read the packaging. Paranormal Oz said, I agree 100%, Alex. Shannon said, always the same players. Lucette said, Donald Marshall, clone. Paranormal Oz said, yeah, interesting information. What you think, Lucette? J1 said, full moon, always a little pump in the crypto market. Out to lunch said, seaweed is nice, but just wonder how radioactive it is because of Japan's Fukushima spill. I think that was made much worse in the media than it should have been. Out to lunch. I don't think it's that bad. The Fukushima spill. Shannon said, Ukraine, the side with the actual Nazis. Yeah. Lucette said, I believe in clones, but I don't believe everything he wrote in his book. Have you read his book? J1 said, Lucette, Megadeth album. Paranormal Oz said, no, I haven't. Yeah, I struggle with some of the information in his interviews. Funny, he always said that he would never write a book. Timmy said, how's everyone doing? Thank God, better than yesterday. I thought I was dying yesterday. I woke up with a headache that, whoa. I ended up in bed all day yesterday. I slept the night before, right? Ended up in bed all day yesterday and slept again last night. There must be something going round. Deb said Stormy Rush will be having her second race in about 5 to 10 minutes. Paranormal Oz said, hey, Timmy. Lucette said, lol, Paranormal, it's not him, lol. Alex said, the horrible Mark Carney used to be governor of the Bank of England. Yes. And Deb said, hello. Everyone's saying, hello, Timmy. Shanna said, top tip, Timmy loves to give just the tip. What? Shannon. D. Lee said, the doctor in the house. Hello, Timmy. Paranormal Oz said, Lucette, do you mean someone else wrote a book about him? Deb said, yes, we hope our Dr. Timmy as well. I hope so. Paranormal Oz said, what's it called, please? J1 said, she's Aussie. Paranormal Oz said, Bridget McMahon Macron. Lucette said, I heard 20,000 more people join Le Pen's party in the last few days. Stu said, a lovely sunny 14 degrees in sunny Melbourne this morning, headed to a warm autumn top of 29. Too good to be inside all day today. G'day, everyone. Oh, how you going, Stu? Good to see ya. And it's good you're having a lovely day today. Out to lunch said, is the book A Handmade Tale good? It's on here, the book that is. I don't know. I haven't read it. Lucette said, paranormal. No, the picture was not him. Paranormal Oz said, you mean the Megadeth one? Yeah, I didn't think it was. Dennis Biz said Obama. Shanna said, anyone see Michelle Obama's brother's camp as a row of tents look more feminine than Michelle? Michelle had a bigger childbearing shoulders. No, I didn't see it. J1 said blockchain voting incoming. Lucette said paranormally claimed in his book he wrote Toxic, recorded by Britney Spears, but I know Kathy Dennis wrote it. Deb's laughing at Shannon. Paranormal Oz said, yeah, I'm skeptical about him. Alleged writing all these songs. Shannon said all the elites are trans in some way. They want to be like their god. The Baphomet, they worship Satan. Yes, they do. Paranormal Oz said, what do you know what the book is called, Lucette? Lucette said paranormal. He denies he's got psychological problems, but I think he has. D. Lee said, I agree, Shannon. J1 said, hey, Stu. Yeah, mowing the forest today. Alex said, Shannon, like a quarterback. Lucette said, I've got the book. I can go look for you, but I'd miss some of the podcast. Shannon said, how convenient. Just like the Comet Ping Pong Pizza hard drive was the only thing shot. Yep, Shannon said, pink as a man. Lucette said, Shannon, yes, you're right. Out to lunch said, can we make a betting board on the first arrest? Send Hev money and buy a square, and when one, Hev send you your money. Shannon said, pink is the term used for Adrena. Oh, yeah. Raven said, I'm back. I need to book blood tests, that's for sure. Oh, God love you. Out to lunch said 20% to Hev for holding the money. Oh, you can if you want, but like, yeah. We'll see. What was it about again? Hang on. Can we make a betting board on the first arrest? Send Hev money and buy a square, and when one, Hev sends you the money. Yep. And 20% holding for Hev. I get it now. Yep, I get what you mean. Shanna said Aerosmith has a song about it. MJ said time travel. Deb said very good, out to lunch. Alex said these AI videos are getting scarily realistic. They are, aren't they? Shanna said go Tulsi. Lisette said paranormal. It's called empowerment by virtue of golden truth. Human cloning, specifically REM-driven human cloning, full disclosure. Alex said, you wouldn't know. That's probably something Elon would say too. Dennis Biz said, Ness, so now they have, sorry guys. So now they have bio-robots that grow muscle tissue. Oh, it's getting creepy. It is. Out to lunch said a DEI mechanic worked on the tail of the helicopter. Shanna said chopper goes splat. Alex said, yes, I saw that. It was apparently a family of 6 and the man was an executive as Siemens. They were apparently going out for a birthday. Lucette said Labor Conservative Lim Dems. Out to lunch said Shannon, you see a guy per scalpel by helicopter blade. He lived and had a headache, I'm sure, though. I saw that out to lunch. Oh, I can't remember what I saw it on, but I saw it the other day. Shannon said maybe it was damaged when that guy headbutted the other guy. Hey, Deb. MJ said, oh, shit, get a bat. Alex said, do we have Liberal Democrats, Labor and Conservatives? They're all the same, though. Out to lunch said on Salty Crackers video. Oh, yes, that's where I saw it. Mrs. Out to lunch said, hello, much love. All jumped on to like. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Out to lunch. I appreciate that. Shannon said out to lunch. He was trying to have an open mind about things. Everyone's saying, hello, Mrs. Out to lunch. Out to lunch said, I've cooked hard cooking egg in air fryer about 9 minutes. Wow. Yes, Deb, we love Fred and Donna. Dennis Biz said their cyber order is really taking over. I just want to live like the Amish. Our government corp is passing bills trying to cancel Christianity learning. Oh, no. Deb said, I'm still laughing, Shannon. Shannon said, Don and Fred don't need no help with their loving. No, hopefully not. Deb said, and now I can't smoke menthol cigarettes. Says Deb, who doesn't smoke. Alex, it makes me sick that so much money is spent on stuff like that when people are starving and freezing to death. D. Lee said they already know the cause and the cure of autism. Dennis Biz said, doing great, Hev. Thank you, guys. Alex said, good advice, best to stay out of arguments. Yes, you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to, okay? That's all I can say. Alex said, some people thrive on drama. Out to lunch said I could use some help. Oh, you could use some help with your loving, you mean? Okay, now I get what you're talking about. I only saw when I was reading the news that you could use some help. Stu said, yeah, I was never a fan of Days of Our Lives, The Young and the Restless, Neighbours and Home and Away, Alex. Paulie Donuts, how you going? Deb said, yes, I can't find a few people that I used to watch on YouTube. Dennis Biz said, Japan's just as screwy and scary. Alex said, people really will spend money on any old shite. I bet the virtual reality programmer is laughing all the way to the bank on the Cayman Islands, or the Cayman Islands. J1 said, Stu, forgot the bold and the beautiful. Alex said, hope you're okay out to lunch. Deb said, Stormy Rush is getting ready for her race. Lucette said, don't forget sons and daughters, love and laughter, tears and sadness and happiness. Oh, shit, I'm all out of tune. Don't mind me. Stu said, what? No, I was a huge fan of that show. MJ said, buttlick smile. Out to lunch said, oh, donuts. I hear, watch out, donut. Are you chocolate or something white sugar? Dennis Biz said their electricity fraudy increases will be their downfall. Stu says, sons and daughters, there's a ripper. Lucette said all politicians talk like this guy. Yeah, they do. They obfuscate and don't ever answer questions. Alex said, home and away, closer each day. Oh, you never used to watch it, but I think that theme tune is ingrained in my brain. Yeah, it is for me too. Oh, I don't want to sing that one. It was bad enough singing the sons and daughters one. I've got a very croaky throat today, guys. Dennis Biz said, zap him to Mars on Elon's. Out to lunch said, Dennis Biz, are you okay? I'm betterish than last week. Paulie Donut said, only out to lunch, only the best, 100%. D. Lee said, I just got my electric bill today with a note advising that starting next month it's going up $50. Oh, great. J1 said, Dennis, our power grid hasn't got enough power to zap anything. Lucette said, Stu, who was the woman who went through all the men marrying and then divorcing them? Patricia? Yeah, I believe it was Patricia from Sons and Daughters. Yep, Stu, sons and daughters, love and laughter, tears of sadness and happiness. We will find out our sons and daughters are what we two were once about. Yeah, no, thank you. Paulie Donuts. I was in there about an hour ago. I'll let him know. Thank you so much, Paulie Donuts. I was trying to comment. No one could see me. I even said, am I blocked? And can anyone see me? And no one could see my comments. And I'm thinking, I must be blocked for some reason. Oh, God love you. Thank you so much, Paulie Donuts. Paranormal Oz said, sorry, on the way to work. It's okay. Lucette next time. Out to lunch said, coal-fired plants in America going back online, I think. Dennis Biz said that it deals with Japan. The Japanese invested their people's superannuation and Oz is paying for their increasing dividends. Oh, great. Dennis Biz said, Japan owns our electricity. Oh, great. Stu said, Mrs. Mangle on Country Practice was my favourite ever. Quality entertainment and 5-star acting. It was all B-grade acting as far as I'm aware. Lucette said, Paranormal, I give you the title. It was Empowerment. Scroll back and you'll see it. Deb said, oh, my God, they give the dog a funny name. D. Lee said, I remember seeing that little boy when he only had 3 wagons. MJ said, what the fuck? Dennis Biz said, grr, how much do we have to pay while we're being captured in slavery to death? MJ said, domestic? Sherry said, oh, no, almost missed you. Hi, all. How you going, Sherry? J1 said, that's to hide it's Adam's apple. Dennis Biz said, they're growing in their insanity. Dennis Biz says she's a witch. Deb said, they need to taste their own medicine. Raven Lilith Moon, how you going? Hi, Sherry. Alex said, I know what you mean. It gets infuriating. Hopefully it won't be much longer, Dennis Biz. Deb said, liar, lie, blah, blah. J1 said, bet Albo didn't get jabbed. MJ said, he sounds sloshed. He normally is, I think. Stu said, handing out America great again is a bad thing. Albo's a total buffoon. Sherry said he needs to go get about 30 more boosters and leave the rest of us alone since he likes it so much. Yeah, exactly. Lucette said, what's that guy's name? Oh, Albanese. Anthony Albanese, his name is. He's Australian freaking Prime Minister. Oh, pardon me. Prime Minister. Dennis Biz said Albo's a grub and is why Oz is grubby. Yes, exactly. Okay, Paranormal Oz said someone's going to abuse that clause. Deb said they all have dinner after pretending to debate each other. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Shannon said Albo always sounds drunk with his interview with Aussie Man. Lucette said, is that guy Albanese? I don't know many Aussie politicians. Yes, it was. The one before that was Chris Bowen, the electricity minister, who's an idiot. Alex said, glad you made it, Sherry. J1 said Babette on Topher recently. E. Karen censored senators. Yes. Sherry said, yep, me too, Alex. The little one keeps me busy. Lucette said, why all the Muslims love from British politicians? Yeah, why all the Muslim love? Because they want chaos. They want control, and they know that the Muslims are easy to control because look at them. Stu said, I don't think it's alcohol. I suspect he was dropped on his head as a puppy. Lucette said Muslims have done precisely nothing for the UK or any other country they've gone to except try and build mosques and bring Sharia law into our countries. Alex said, yeah, I bet. I hope it's all going well with your beautiful new addition to your family, Sherry. Hey, Maria, how you going? Hope Mum's okay. Mum's doing well now, I believe. I'm going to see her tomorrow. Dennis Biz said, Lucette, yes, that's Albo Prime Minister for Oz, and they want Muslims because they marry children from 5 years. Yeah, they want chaos. Dealey said, Sherry's enjoying your sweet little grandbaby. Sherry said, she's good, Alex, starting to try to talk already. She gets mad when I try and put her down. She's Granny's girl. Oh. Maria said, hi, Alex, hope you're all good. Lucette said, T-shuck. Hev is the Irish PM. Alex said, yes, it turned out into a pretty worrying place to live with all the rape gangs and murders running rampant and getting away with it, Lucette. Dennis Beers said, you Aussie have more than most. I believe so. I love this country, and I don't want to see it go down the shithole like it's doing right now. Alex said, I'm not bad, thank you. I hope you're well, Maria. Stu said, where's the people? Oh, that's right, they're here and in England and the US now. Lucette said, Alex, you're absolutely right. I live in the countryside, so I'm lucky. Wouldn't want to live in a UK city. Alex said, yes, some of the worst criminals are now on our shores. Stu? Lucette said, Stu, I don't mind white South Africans here in the UK. They seem to mix in well. Alex said, I know. Did you hear about that poor village of 700 getting over 800 illegals moving in? I can't remember where it was now, but it's getting out of control, Lucette. J1 said, I say I'm surprised, but sadly not. Oh, jumped again. Okay, where am I? Sad, but sadly not. Here. Virginia said, I'm really late. Oh, God, love you, Virginia. Thank you for joining us. Lucette said, yeah, I heard about that. It's insanity. Stu said, yes, not being racist, but there's good and bad in all 100%. Yes, there is. Alex said, some woman in England got arrested and locked in a cell for 7 hours yesterday for confiscating her own children's iPad so they could concentrate on schoolwork. The world's gone nuts. That's insane, Alex. I did read that somewhere. Stu said, it's one thing to lose a job, but another thing to lose a loved one. Yeah, exactly. Lucette said, Alex, yeah, I heard about that too. I hope she gets compensation for being locked up for no reason, for taking her own child's iPad away. That is pathetic. MJ, 2020 to 2025, 5 years. If my children, they would lose iPads. Yep. Alex said, me too. They treated her worse than an actual criminal. That's unbelievable. Alex said, mine wouldn't have had an iPad to start with. Bring back books. I agree. Alex said, good books, not rewritten ones, lol. MJ said, loving books is getting expensive. Sucks. Library not as good as before. Out to lunch said, HMT is 1984, but from a woman's view. Oh, The Handmaid's Tale. Dolores said, hello all. Hope everyone's doing well. MJ said, Daughters of the Cult is right now. Modern day Handmaiden's Cult on Hulu. Stu said, Hev's Friday night bingo. Out to lunch said, if you could find a book, ask a library to order it for you. Yeah, they will do that. MJ said, I did it for a long time. Library was great, not so great anymore. Out to lunch said, Donna helping mum and dad tonight. Oh, God, love her. Out to lunch said, her sister and her have been dealing with a wheelchair-bound dad and a mum with dementia. Oh, God, love them. Yeah, sending prayers to Mrs. Out to Lunch, to Donna. Alex said, I know, sending lots of love and prayer. Yeah, there you go, to you, Donna and Fred. MJ said, a guy living in Thailand said his electric bill was $20 and his internet was $10. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? J1 said, the Sullivans. Oh, shit, I'm old. Deb said, yes, you are, J1. I too remember. Stu said, Matlock Police. Lucette said, I remember the Sullivans. We got all the Aussie shows here in the UK. Conchega said, we don't have prime ministers. He's a CEO for the corporate government. Yes. Deb said, so many good shows back in the day. Alex said, it's the same here. They all go and sniff coke at the Houses of Parliament pub after they've had a Punch and Judy show in the House of Commons. That's exactly right. It's ridiculous. Everyone's saying hello. Alex said, oh, that's so cute. And wow, clever girl already trying to talk, Sherry. Yeah, definitely. Raven Lilith Moon. I loved the show called The Good Life. So did I, actually. And Love Thy Neighbour, yes. Love thy neighbour. Walk up and say, how be ya? Gee, but I'm glad to see ya, pal. How's tricks? What's new? Yeah, they were good old shows, along with Welcome Back, Cotter, and who else was it? What was it? Robin's Nest? What, Robin and the two chicks that used to live together. Stu said, hello, Deb, Hev, Alex. How you going, Stu? And J1 said, Steptoe and Son. Yes. Oh, there's a lot of good old shows. With that, guys, though, I'm going to have to go. I'll meet you over on Rumble in about 10 minutes, and hopefully Tim can join us. Okay, guys, have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.